Welcome to episode 28 of the Shamrock Green Room, your favorite podcast highlighting everything about Scotus Central Catholic and Columbus Catholic schools. Each episode, we discuss what it's like to be a Shamrock. Whether that is a current student, a teacher, an alum, or supporter, we want to hear your stories on why this is such a special place in education. I'm your host, Jon Brezenski, 1998 graduate. Today, I'm joined by Frank Spenceri. Coach was the boys basketball coach and head cross-country coach here at Scotus from 1970 to 1988, as well as a golf coach from 1973 to 1988. And assistant football coach from 70 to 72. He also served as the athletic director from 78 to 88. He was inducted into the Shamrock Hall of Fame in 1999. Stories of Coach Spenceri are legendary. His impact on student athletes continues today. It's an honor to get him in here today. Coach, thank you for coming in to the Shamrock Green Room.
Thank you for having me, John.
Absolutely. I've been looking forward to this since we got this thing set. So this is going to be so fun to hear your story. And your impact on so many people.
Well, this will be the first time listening to me would be fun.
Well, I mean, we would probably need 3 episodes to get through all these stories, but we're definitely going to get in through as many as we can. All right?
Let's go.
All right. Well, just talk about talk about you growing up in Omaha, talking about, touch on your years at Creighton Prep, and then we'll just make our way into our SCOTUS years here.
Well, growing up in Omaha, when I was a year and a half old, my mom died. So, and our dad couldn't raise us. So I had an older brother that was about 7 and a sister that was about 5.5 or 6, and I was 18 months. And I was probably raised by my Vendetti family more than my Spenceri family. My mom was a Vendetti. And my aunts and uncles, grandma and grandpa would raise us. But my mom's sister, Aunt Lucy, and her husband, Al, actually raised us. They didn't adopt us, but they raised us until we left the home to get married. And so I grew up in the 22nd and Pierce area. St. Anne's was the parish. And then went to grade school at Holy Cross till 4th grade and St. Margaret Mary's until 8th grade. And then in 1957, I went to Creighton Prep. Except Creighton Prep was at Creighton University then.
Oh, really?
24th in California.
Okay.
And the high school was part of the administrative building for the university, and it was 2nd and 3rd floor. So it was kind of unique being down there where you had your only football team game field that they ever had at Creighton Prep was the old football stadium that Creighton University had down there. It was looked like Soldiers Field. It was all concrete. And
oh, really?
a huge field. And so my first year there was the last freshman class to be at the old prep.
Okay.
The next year, then they moved to the present site of 74th and Western.
Did everybody go up there then? Did you go up there, did that whole...
Yeah, all the next classes to be were the freshmen moved to sophomores,
yep,
etc. So all the sophomore, junior, and seniors moved to the new school.
Oh, okay.
And the first freshman class at 74th and Western would start that year.
Okay.
But as I was at Creighton Prep, I look at my time at Prep and Scotus and in the Catholic grade schools being very similar. At Prep, I got involved in everything. I played football, I played basketball, and I played baseball. And I was, I was part of the Letterman's Club, the Student Council, and the Sodality. I was president of the Sodality, which was a religious group, Student Council, and so I tried to get involved as much as possible.
Okay.
And I knew about everybody in school. Back then we had 173 boys in class, and each class was pretty similar. So it wasn't a huge school, but it was big enough. And three or four big things happened to me at Prep. Number one, my senior year of football, I was a quarterback and a right corner linebacker, and we played our homecoming game at Rosenblatt Stadium against Central High School. Well, Central had Gale Sayers.
Oh, wow.
And they had the best offensive team in the state. But we had the best defensive team. And there were 14,500 people that came to Rosenblatt to watch Gale Sayers play.
Mm-hmm.
And there would have been more, couldn't let any more people in. But they wrote a book about the game. And the name of the book was Scoreless, ergo a 0-0.
No kidding.
Right. And I said it was our homecoming game, and I was the quarterback. Well, the homecoming queen was Pat Oglesby from Marion High School, who happens to be my wife.
Oh, wow.
We got married 4 years later after that game.
Wow.
And then fast forward to basketball, and basketball was Tom Brosnan's first year as a basketball coach. And he got into basketball by reading a book on Red Hickey. And whatever Red Hickey said from page 1 to page 300, that's what he taught us. And we ended up being pretty good. We started out slow. We didn't have any extraordinary athletes, but we had some very good ones.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up, I think, 7-12 going into districts. Okay? And you had to win 2 games in district and 3 at state. We won the 2 games at district. We won the first 2 games at state, and we played for the state championship of Class A in Nebraska. So my senior year, we play a game of the century. The NSA inducted us into the Hall of Fame with that Central game, 0-0 tie, into the Hall of Fame in about 10 years later. So football, basketball was great. Baseball, I was captain of the baseball team. We did very well and did pretty good in the city. So my experience at prep was great. You wanted me to tell a little bit about grade school, a little bit about high school. Did you want me to get into Holy Name coaching?
Yeah, yep, that's where we're going next. Actually, let's talk about your years at Holy Name and then how that transitions into how you end up at Scotus.
Well, this is going to be new information for everybody. My years at college, Omaha University, were 1961 to 1970, 9 years. Now, I tell you that ahead of time because it was a long, tedious process of getting through school because I was also coaching at the same time.
Sure.
Without a degree. You
Okay.
could coach on an emergency certificate as long as you were working for your degree. So the first 2 years, my freshman and sophomore year, of course, I'm dating Pat, and we're talking about getting married, and I get through the first 2 years. I'm working part-time at Union Pacific at night as a pipe fitter apprentice, and it was 11 at night to 7 in the morning, and then I had a 7:30 class in Omaha U to get to. I think I was taking Boolean algebra.
Wow.
Well, I had taken some good classes at prep, and in A class you took Greek and Latin and calculus and everything ahead of time. So can you imagine Boolean algebra at 7:30 in the morning when you just got off an 11 to 7 shift? So the third year should be my junior year, okay? But the junior year took about that year and 2 others because in that year, it was 1963-64, Pat and I were talking about getting married. And so I got a full-time job, and later on that year, I became the first assistant coach ever at Brownell Talbot.
Oh, wow.
Brownell Talbot was Brownell Hall. It was a all-girls boarding school for grade school and high school girls. Well, then that next year they create a co-ed school, and Bud Larson from Shadron College I later looked up on his credentials. He was an All-American football and basketball player at Shadron State, and he also raised horses. Well, when the Brownell Talbot job opened up, that's Exarban, Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska, the Exarban racetrack. He took that job so he could breed horses and race them at Exarban.
Oh, wow.
So we had 10 high school boys in school.
At Brownell Talbot.
Team. One was our student manager. And so I was hired to teach grade school PE, the assistant basketball coach, and I couldn't take full-time at Omaha U, so I was just taking 3 to 5 hours of education. Well, the next year, Dud Allen, who was an assistant coach at Creighton Prep, got the Holy Name job and called me up and said, Frank, I hear you're working on your degree for education and coaching. He said, would you like to be my assistant football, basketball, and track coach? At that time, in the Catholic schools, one person was the head coach of all 3 sports. And I said, certainly. Well, that negated me from having a full-time schedule again, so I'm somewhere in about my third of my third year now as assistant coach at Holy Name.
Wow.
And that was 64, 65.
Okay.
Okay? No, 65, 66, I'm assistant coach. And I coached the JVs. And we went to state that year. Dud Allen was a good coach in basketball. I coached the backs in football, and he coached the line. And at the end of the school year, he resigned. And so the superintendent, Father Leesfeld, came up to me at Holy Name and said, Frank, you were 12-0 with your JV team. Would you like to be the head basketball coach? And I said, certainly, Father, I'd love to be. He said, okay. He says, let's go in the weight room. He opened up the door, and this gentleman was lifting weights. And he said, Frank, could you stop a minute and come out? He said, Frank, meet Frank. Frank, this is Frank. And he said, Frank Solich, this is Frank Spenceri. So Frank Solich had the football, I had the basketball, and we assisted each other.
Wow.
And Charlie Blankenship, some alumni that had been there a while, alumnus, took over track. And so I spent 2 years at Holy Name, and we had some great teams. The second year, we were 21-0, undefeated, going into the district finals. And that week, Jack Payne was doing a program on TV, and he came to interview me, and because we were one of the best records in the state at any class that particular year. Well, we end up playing Schuyler. If you can imagine an Omaha team playing Schuyler, I don't think the NSA loved me very much, but they scheduled Schuyler in the district. They had Jura and Harmon. Jura went to Nebraska. Harmon went to
Jolly Green Giant, the Jolly Green Giant team then, right?
Yeah. Yep. They were huge, and they were 20-1, and we were 21-0. The night before, Billy Pogge had put 49 points on Omaha Cathedral. He was our postman, 6'2", ran the 100-yard dash. It was a 100-yard dash then. Played football as a fullback and was our postman. And I just taught him the turnaround jump shot, drop step and layup. And he scored 49 points against Cathedral. Well, we're ready to start the Schuyler game, and Jura and him go up on the jump ball, and Billy comes down on Jura's ankle. And not ready to. He can't play the game anymore as well as he did the night before. Obviously, we lost by 6. So that ends my Holy Name career. And I told Father, Father, I'm not getting through college as quickly as I thought because I'm coaching too much. Maybe I should go back to college. He said, I was going to talk to you about the same thing. Let's do that. So I end up somewhere in my end of my junior year at Omaha U, and we're now in 1968-69 season. And I interviewed for an assistant job at Omaha U. Coach Jim Borsheim was the head coach, and I had played for him a year or two as my freshman and sophomore year. And I got the job and worked there 2 years. And then Coach Borsheim got fired, so I was more or less out of a job. And Bob Hansen came in with his full crew from Hiram Scott. And he met with me, and he said, Frank, I'd love to have a position for you, but I brought everybody from Hiram Scott. He says, but will Paul Sikowski stay with the team, the kid you brought from Holy Name with you? He was more concerned about Sikowski than he was about me.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, he will. He'll stay. He wants to play basketball. He doesn't care whether I'm coaching him or not. So there I am. I'm out of a job. I look in the paper, there's no Class A schools open, and there was a couple Class Bs. And I saw Scotus Central Catholic. Well, I had known of Scotus being at Holy Name for a few years. So I knew some of the coaches, I knew the athletes they had, and it was a good school. I came here to interview with Father Emmett Meyer and some of the board members and got the job. And that started my next 18 years from 1970 to 1988.
Wow, that is really amazing. What was it like to coach? I guess coach with Solich and interact with him while he was, because he's obviously a young coach at Holy Name at the time as well.
Yeah, we were only a year apart. I was a year older than Frank, and we kind of have the same lifestyles, the same thoughts about coaching. He was interactive with the coach, the players as well as I, and we had the same thoughts. We got along very well together, and we had a great 2 years together.
Okay.
And we still talk to each other today.
That's awesome. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
So you arrive in Scotus in 1970, the school year of 70-71 then, right?
Right.
Okay. So talk about those early years, obviously because Jim's a young coach at that time. He's only been here for a couple of years. So who are some of those early relationships that you established when you first got here?
Well, it was kind of a neat thing. When I first got here, being full-blooded Italian, I didn't know if there'd be any Italians in the town of Columbus. I knew there were a lot of Polish people and a lot of Bohemian
Germans
people,
and Irish. Yeah.
I'm sure there aren't a lot of Italians. Well,
my wife's side note, my wife's maternal grandmother was from Florence, Italy. She was a World War II war bride. So my wife has blood relatives in Italy, but we haven't made. My goal is to take her over there sometime.
Well, when I got here, the first two of the first people I met, was an alumnus of St. Bon's, Dick Sansoni.
Oh, okay.
Who's Italian. Another person I met, it was the Columbus Community Hospital business manager. I happened to coach him at Holy Name, Joe Barbaya.
Oh, sure, sure.
There were two Italians, and there were two Italian dentists. I think we had Petrocchi and Mancuso.
Yeah.
And I knew both of them. So
yeah,
that kind of got me off on a good start. When I came here, I think there's 3 or 4 things that really got me very comfortable and knew that I picked the right school. And that was the coaching staff. I just, I respect every one of them. They do what they do very well. They did what they did very well. They were great people and still friends today. Jimmy's not around anymore, but Vern Younger and Gary Pitts, Jim Pitts, Randy Berlin, John Peterson.
Yeah.
We either played softball together or we were playing golf together. We hung out around together and we painted houses together.
Okay.
So the coaching staff was fantastic. We had a great teaching staff. The alumni and the parents were unbelievable. You couldn't find a better alumni group that would back their ex-high school and come to games and do good things for them. And the parents were all great parents. So I was in a place very similar to Holy Name, Creighton Prep, and Scotus. You had ordinary people doing very extraordinary things. That's what I found in those 3 places. You didn't have great all-American athletes. You didn't have the guy that was the president of the bank. You had a lot of good people, just ordinary people, but the results ended up
hard work type ethic. Yeah. Yep.
And so that was my first part here. when we first came to Columbus, and Pat, of course, stayed at home and with both Scott and Lisa until they were in first grade, and then she became a nurse at the hospital. And Pat was probably one of the best and biggest boosters of Scotus Central Catholic. Wherever I went, she went with me, and if she didn't go with me, wherever I went, she followed me in a car, whether it was a game or a scouting trip or whatever it was, watching us play softball, etc. So she loved Columbus, I loved Columbus, and the kids loved it.
Yeah. I was looking through an old yearbook today at work, just kind of preparing for this today, and I found a picture of you. This would have been in probably 1972 year. It's in the 1972 yearbook, I think. Okay. But it's you, and it's Scott, and it's Lisa in a picture. It was pretty cool. It was cool to see, because you look at, you can definitely see the resemblance in all of your kids in you. Tanner, you can see, and Hannah, you can see, and McKenna, you can kind of see a little bit of you in all of them when I saw that picture.
A little bit, But, back then, Scott and Lisa, when we got here, we got married in 64. Scott was born in 65. Lisa born in 67. So, they're only 5 or 3 when we got here.
Yeah.
So
they were little in this picture for sure.
Yeah, and this was home to them for 18
long time.
Years.
Yeah.
And Scott for more than 18 years.
Sure. Well, let's talk about a couple games that you mentioned in the book. I played for Scotus book. That's what I was looking up. You mentioned the 84 game. If you remember, the 82-81 game over Lakeview was a triple overtime game. Then also in 74, you had 102-96. Conrad Cesarski had 40 points. Greg Gruba had 34 points. You mentioned those two guys specifically in that book. Do you remember that game?
Yeah, as when you sent me the questions and you start want me to refer to certain years of certain players, I think about it a little differently, John.
Sure.
First of all, coaching basketball is a different sport. You go November, December, January, February, and if you're lucky, you're into March. It's 5 months. Not only you as a coach have to do that, you're asking athletes to put forth an effort for 5 months. And the type of ball we played and the type of practices we had were not easy practices. But what I was most proud of in terms of our basketball program is, number one is, I think it was very fun to watch us play basketball. I mean, we had talented people working their tails off, and if you didn't bring your A-plus game to the gym against us, you weren't going to win.
Yeah.
And so everybody came with their best effort, and they wanted to beat us. They wanted that little rose that you can put in the vase. We beat Scotus.
Yep.
So it was tough for our kids to compete day in, day out, and they did. I was proud of the fact that our teams won a lot of conference championships and won a lot of basketball games. I never was a coach that remembers win and loss. I don't know what our record was. First year I got here, 70-71, it wasn't very good. We might have been a 7-12 team, but we got better every game. We got better every game. One of my best friends is still a member of that team, Al Nudbalski.
Sure, I see him 3 days a week.
And we'll call each other once every month or two, and I still keep in touch. And we're talking 55 years ago. 70 to 50 to 2025 is a long time.
Yeah.
But I was talking about things that I'm proud of.
Yeah.
I was proud of our basketball program. I was proud of the fact that I started a grade school basketball program that I directed, and we played on Sundays. We practiced on Saturdays in the old gym. There wasn't a new gym. And we played on Sundays, and we played at half times of the JV and varsity game. My varsity coaches coached the 7th and 8th grade kids. my JVs coached the 5th and 6th grade kids. And then at the halftime of the JV game, the varsity would coach their 7th and 8th grade, and at the halftime of the varsity game, the JV would coach their 5th and 6th. That was a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to what I told you, those 5 months and all the practices. So the young men that played for me, played for the program, played for Scotus Central Catholic in basketball, put forth a lot of extra time, a lot of extra effort, and it's worthwhile. The last thing I'm proud of is some of those guys come back about 4, 5, 6, 7 years later and say, Coach, thank you. I know now why you yelled at me or why you weren't the greatest toward me.
Mm-hmm.
I never was coaching in basketball to teach them basketball. I was trying to teach them lifestyle things that they can use later on in life.
Sure.
Skills.
Yeah.
Life skills.
Yeah.
And but some of those that not only say thank you, there's about 30% that say they call me coach.
Mm-hmm.
I think Wooden wrote a book. They still call me coach.
Mm-hmm.
They call me coach. So I mean, it makes you feel good when they come back and say thank you. It makes you feel extra good when they come back and call you coach as opposed to Mr. Spenceri or Frank.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So basketball was good for my life, and it was worthwhile.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you obviously had a huge impact on a lot of people because talking about your intramural program that you started, because then that was still going on, because then Mr. Lom, took the head job after that, and that was my years of growing up. He continued that intramurals. We practiced on Saturday, played on Sundays. That was a big deal. That was a big deal to kids like us playing. And then my daughter and Merlin.
Okay.
Yep. And so that was a big program growing up when I was growing up.
Yeah, it's a good recruiting tool. It's good for the kids. It's much better for the players. The players teaching the same skills to the young kids as you're teaching to them. It all worked well for everybody.
Mm-hmm. And the girls ended up modeling that program too, and we still do that. Like at halftime, the youth boys basketball program, the youth girls basketball program, they play at halftime of the games. It's fun to watch.
Yeah,
that's awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Can I ask you about Greg Grubaugh? You mentioned in the book that he was probably one of the best basketball players you ever coached.
Yeah, if you look at the big picture, I came in 70 and left in 88. Somewhere around 73, things started to happen, and we'd had a heck of a year or a heck of a run from 73 to maybe 83 or 84. Well, 73, 74, 74, 75, that's Grubaugh's years.
Mm-hmm.
And we had Greg, we had Conrad, we had a lot of other great players, Schumachers.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could remember everybody, and if anybody's listening, I forgot your name, don't say bad things about me. It's just sometimes the mind doesn't work.
Yeah.
But Greg was probably one of the best players that came out of this school. Brett Kumpf, pretty close. Conrad. You got Brezenski. You got my son Scott. I'm mentioning guys that went to Kearney State, where Grubaugh starred, and Brezenski and Scott played. You got Midland College, where Kump played. You got Doane, where Conrad played.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm missing anybody else, but I think those are the top 5 players that played at major colleges, major state colleges.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, good. I mean, what was it like? Because you guys make state in 81 and 82. What was it like to kind of make state? Obviously, Scott's involved in that as well. What was that like as a dad now? Because you're coaching your son, and as you kind of reflect now, it was kind of awesome to share those moments with him, right?
Well, yes. We'll put that on the table on the side for a second.
Sure.
81 was our first year.
Mm-hmm.
We were 17 and 6 the year before. We had got upset in the finals of the district the year before. We were rated 7th in the state. So things started to happen, like I said, in the late 70s, and we could have, should have, would have,
Yeah. A lot of things have to happen, though, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah, but we could have gone to state any one of those 6 to 8 years in that span.
Mm-hmm.
And coaching Scott, it's a funny story, John. With Scott, he's played on the varsity as a sophomore, a junior, and a senior. And he went to state as a junior, and we lost in the district finals again when he was a senior, or else would have been 3 times in a row he would have been to state.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to be a little tougher with him than the other guys, because I had to make sure he was paying his dues to be on the varsity team as a sophomore and a junior as well as a senior.
Mm-hmm.
But a few years back, one day I got him aside and I said, Scott, did you have as much fun playing for me as I had coaching you? And he said, no, Dad. So obviously,
yeah.
it was tougher,
But that's kind of a life as a
on the
coach's
side.
kid. Yeah, it's kind of life as a coach's kid. Coaching my kids too. I totally get what you're saying. I think a lot of coaches understand. You kind of have to. You got to make sure they earn it too. And
Yeah.
I think so. It's always that perception. Oh, he's favoring it. You just
Right.
didn't want that out there. So I totally get that for sure. Totally get that for sure. But I think it's still pretty cool to look back, and he's part of those great teams that you coach. I mean, you coach so many great teams, but he's obviously involved in a couple of those for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what about some coaching rivals? You remember some good stories with some coaching rivals? I mean, you coached against some really good coaches.
Yeah. Like I mentioned, we had rivals in every school. For some
Mhm.
reason, everybody was our rival.
Yeah.
Or they wanted us to be their major rival.
Mm-hmm.
Aquinas was always, being as close as we were proximity-wise. And the unique thing about that was when I coached at Holy Name, my 8th grade coach was Dale Kirkman, who was the Aquinas coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we had something in common, and we always felt better when we beat the other coach.
Yeah.
Since you knew him that well and you had some camaraderie with him. Obviously, Lakeview, Joel Parks came in for a while, and we became real good friends. And when Rich McGill was Platte College coach, Joel was up at Lakeview, and we hung around together and did a lot of things together.
Mm-hmm.
But we had good games. We had a good game with Fairbury here. Charlie Moore. And Fairbury was a well-known basketball school, and they came in to the gym once and played in our holiday tournament. And Joe Quattrochi, one of those Quattrochi guys, his son, Joe, hit a free throw at the end of the game to win the game. And everybody's going off the court, and I went to the referees. We're not done. The game's not over. Why not? And I explained, and Charlie Moore's going crazy. He said, there's something wrong here, Frank. I said, I'll settle it.
Mm-hmm.
And what had happened is, in the last seconds of the game, Charlie came on the court to dispute a call from the referees. No one disputes a referee's call. And they call it technical. And so when they called the technical, the clock ran and it was out. It was at 0. But the foul had been called at about 2 or 3 seconds.
Okay.
So we shoot the free throw, and they say, game's over. I said, no, the game's not over. And I explained to the referees that free throw was made after the game was over. So we're in overtime.
Mm.
Anyway, Fairbury wins by 1 at the end of overtime.
Oh, really?
We won by 1. We did the right thing.
Yeah.
And that's what Scotus is about. I think one of your questions was, what's the one word about Scotus?
We'll get that at the very end. Yeah, we'll get that at the very end. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. But I want to kind of touch on the alumni basketball tournament because that's a huge deal. I mean, you helped get that started, obviously, with some guys that helped you, but that's continued on to be this great thing. I modeled our alumni soccer tournament after our alumni basketball tournament. That's turned into a great thing, for guys to just come back and get together and hang out. So just kind of touch on the alumni basketball tournament, I guess, and kind of how you started and guess really what it means to you.
that list of being proud of, that's probably up in the top 2 of creating that alumni basketball tournament with Tweet Plotzik, Al Nabalski, Gonka, Vern Younger, myself, just one day saying, hey, what do you think? We used to do this, have a basketball tournament every year. And lo and behold, I don't know how many teams are come now, John, but it's still packed every year.
Yeah.
There's 25 teams, there's 35 teams, there's 40 teams. And it's grown better and better. And I ran the dang thing with the other guys that I just mentioned. Then you get to the point where you just can't find time. Well, it goes back to having great alumni. And then you had Mike Chalaha take over. He saw the value of it. He saw the need for it. And after that, I think the Durans. I mean, Todd or Doug. I think
Todd's got it, and then there's a committee of us that get it organized and get it going, and keep it going. Yeah.
But to imagine what Scotus was like and why they were good in athletics, why you had to bring your A game in football and track and basketball and volleyball and soccer. It's because you just watch those guys play alumni basketball against each other. Some of them can't move. They've been out of high school 15 years, but by God, they're playing for all the money against the class right behind them or ahead of them. You know.
Yeah, and
it shows the spirit,
the
athleticism, and the will to win that is the reason why Scotus is good.
Yeah, and it's you know, I've obviously been a long-time player. I don't play as much as I used to, but and Pat was talking about it here earlier. You know, it's everything kind of starts out pretty good. You know, hey, great to see you, great to see you. But then once the game starts, it kind of changes. You know, and alumni soccer is very. You know, we have our alumni soccer tournament the first week in August, and it's just a great time. You know, like we get a couple hundred people out there. Parents are out there hanging out. It's awesome. It's just a great thing.
You know, John, kudos to Billy Cush. Billy, along with Blaha, went to Nebraska on those Devaney teams. He has never missed a tournament in 40 years plus.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody can say that. And he still moves pretty good.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Billy Cush has been around since the first one, and hopefully he comes to the next one.
Yeah. I always want to talk about, you know, as your grandkids came, you know, your grandkids were involved in athletics here at Scotus, and obviously, you know, I coached Tanner, and we had a great, you know, he was part of that 3-peat championship teams, won state football championship. I guess, what was that like for you as a grandfather now to watch Tanner and watch your grandgirls, you know, or the girls compete as well? But kind of what was it like as you were kind of sitting back and watching them compete for Scotus?
Well, there's a room in my basement where I have my little office, and there's a desk, and I have the Wall of Fame. And on the Wall of Fame is when I coached in the Nebraska All-Star game with Millsap, Tom Millsap. We got a little plaque there. And then I was inducted in the Hall of Fame here as a coach. I was inducted at Creighton Prep as an athlete. So those are sitting down, and hanging on the wall is Tanner's picture in honor of, I have a grandson who won 3 state championships in soccer and 1 in football. On the other side is Lisa's son, my other grandson, Spencer. And his is up there because he was all-state in basketball at Creighton Prep.
Okay.
Point guard.
Okay.
And they won Class A. And in the middle is my granddaughter who went to Marion. And in Class A, they won state tournament in volleyball. So I have 3 grandchildren that have, between them, 6 state champions. Of course, Tanner has 3 and 1, and Spencer and Sophia each have 1. So it's amazing to watch your grandkids play. It's great that Hannah played a little volleyball here, and McKenna might have too. But Tanner's the only one that took up sports every year, and he did well at them. And they loved being here, and I liked watching them. And I was there at the state football game when he played, sitting next to a buddy, Sandy Buddha.
Oh, really?
Coach Buddha.
Sure.
Ex-UNO football coach, and said he's a good player.
Yeah. No, he was. It was fun coaching him. He got after it. I was coaching him. Loved coaching him. So, I guess a couple things here. I guess, reflecting on kind of the value of a Catholic education. How would you put that into words? As we, I went to Catholic grade school, Catholic high school, Catholic college. I guess how would you put that into words of a value of a Catholic education?
Well, my entire education was Catholic.
Yep.
Like everybody else, we weren't a poor family. You had everything you needed. You didn't have everything you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But you went to school. We were taught by nuns and by priests. When I went to prep, it was mostly Jesuits. The lay teachers were the coaches. When I went to Holy Cross at St. Margaret Mary's, there were nuns. And they taught you the right things, how to live life, how to be compassionate, how to be caring, and how to respect people.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what you do in life, and you treat somebody like you want to be treated. You don't, you're not an antagonist. You are a person that's helping everything be as good as it possibly can be.
Mm-hmm.
So my Catholic education in grade school and high school, I'm going to Creighton Prep, and I'm teaching at Holy Name. I'm teaching at Scotus. I've had nothing but Catholic schools, and to me, the value of education is much more than the 3,000 or the 5,000 or the 10,000 or the 15 you have to charge, because there's no more Jesuits around. There's no more nuns around.
Mm-hmm.
It's lay teachers. So, to me, what you get out of the Catholic schools, it's much more than just English and mathematics.
Mm-hmm.
It's living life the right way and caring for people and being able to be compassionate and live in their shoes, live in their moccasins.
Yeah, yeah. And I think everybody knows you as a very passionate man, very passionate, caring man, right? I guess I think that's kind of defines you in a way too. I mean, everybody knows you. You just had that fire, you've had that passion, but you're also, people know you love them.
Yeah, and it's a lot of that, John, is my wife Pat.
Mm-hmm.
We're married 61 years today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, we got married when we were 20 years old, 2 months shy of being 21. And, when we got here in Scotus in 70, we had already been married 6 years. And I saw a problem she was having. And it didn't exacerbate a heck of a lot here, but it was starting to show a little bit. And she lived her entire life with Huntington's chorea. You asked me the question, hey, I know you're a compassionate person, a loving person. I learned that from my wife.
Mm-hmm.
To have gone through the battle she went through, day in, day out, an incurable disease, Huntington's chorea. It's a neurological disease that creates a dance and short circuits your movements, and you lose dexterity, you lose balance, and pretty soon you're just a vegetable. And I started that in about halfway through SCOTUS in the 76, 7, 78, 79 years. She would go off her run and she'd fall and she'd come back with knees bleeding. I tell you that story only because it had a change in my life for two ways. Number one, I'm a little bit more compassionate now than I was with some of the kids in basketball.
Sure.
Guys that are listening go, yep, you're right, Coach.
Yeah.
Compassionate. But I learned to care for people because she was always that way.
Mm-hmm.
She had to deal with this disease and deal with what she had, and no one ever knew it but me. And when 86, 87 rolled around, in my mind, I was questioning, okay, I'm the second highest paid guy here, and I'm wearing 9 hats at Scotus, from alumni to all the coaching to activities director, etc., and I'm making $33,000. And I don't think I can take her places I want to take her. So I end up changing with Edward Jones. I had a different life, and it took 5 years, but I got to bring her on trips for the first, second, third, and fourth, and fifth year we left Scotus. And she got to see places we'd have never seen if we were still in Columbus. But I wanted to tell people one of the reasons why I didn't stay here past 88 was to have a life for Pat.
Sure, absolutely.
She loved this place so much. And the reason why I'm compassionate and empathetic and care about people is because that's the way she lived her life. And, being around a saint like that, you become a pretty good person.
Yeah, yeah. Kind of helps change your perspective a little bit.
Yeah, it did mine.
Yeah.
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 It changed it.
Yeah. Well, that's a great story to share.
Thank you.
I appreciate you for sharing that. I know that probably wasn't easy to do, but I appreciate that. So.
You're welcome.
Well, we'll kind of wrap it up here, Coach, and we'll kind of get into that final question that we ask our guests. How would you describe Scotus Central Catholic in one word?
I'll tell a little story before I get to the word. There's probably a lot of people that go panning for gold, okay? And a lot of people that dig for diamonds. But it takes an extra special person to be able to do those things. And when I was coaching, I used to always use the phrase, remember that season that went from November to March, and long practices and extra added things. Some days are diamonds and some days are stones. Well, to me, a great portion of every day at Scotus was a diamond. So I think what I would say about Scotus, rather than have it be one word, I have a phrase, okay? To me, Columbus Scotus Central Catholic, is a diamond in the rough. And that's what I would leave with you.
That's awesome. That's a great answer. And it's a unique one, and I appreciate it very much.
You're welcome.
So, I thank you again for coming down today. I know we had some logistic things what got you here, but I definitely wanted to do this interview in person with you because I think you've been one of the most requested people to get on here. So I'm glad we were able to make this work. And I know it wasn't easy for you to get here, but I really appreciate it very much.
Thank you for your time, John, and I hope it was halfway good.
It was you did fantastic. So thank you so much, Coach.
All right.
If you're interested in hearing more Shamrock Green Room episodes, subscribe to us and rate us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Make sure to follow us on our social media channels, Scotus Central Catholic on Facebook, X, and YouTube, and Columbus Catholic Schools on Instagram. If you have some ideas for some guests on the podcast, please email me at coachbrez@gmail.com. Thank you again for joining us in the Shamrock Green Room.